Greetings. Hope this finds you well. Just wanted to dive a little bit into Joe Biden as he recently announced that he was running for the 2020 Democratic presidential, or he entered the Democratic presidential race for 2020, as it has been rumored for quite some time that he would, and we do not need him as our next president. And if he gets the nomination, I think it's pretty safe to say that Trump would get reelected, because basically he is just another version of Hillary Clinton, more or less, and we saw how well that went over in 2016, and just his policy positions over the years have been really horrible. And I'm just going to go over some of those things. He was in support of the Iraq War. I think that just goes to show how horrible his judgment is, and that he supports, these regime change wars and interventionism. We don't need more of that. We need to scrap that whole kind of ideology. He voted for the Defense of Marriage Act. You can look this up. There's a clip of him online, an interview. It's decades old, but still, he was talking about how he was willing to prostitute himself in order to get elected and in order to solicit donations. So, just that statement alone just shows that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get elected, even if that means, literally prostituting himself to do that. He said in the past that he thinks Dick Cheney is a good guy and he gets along well with him. Dick Cheney is a warmonger. He is a war criminal. He should have been prosecuted and tried as such by the Obama administration, in my opinion, as well as, the International Criminal Court. He still doesn't think that marijuana should be legalized. He thinks it's a gateway drug, and that's just beyond ridiculous when alcohol and tobacco are legal and they cause much more, negative public health and health consequences to the people that use those products compared to marijuana. He was also in support of the Patriot Act, so basically in support of us losing our rights and liberties, and that's just horrible in and of itself. He supported welfare reform, which is a very racist policy because it disproportionately affected people of color. He was also in support of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which basically put the nail in the coffin of the manufacturing sector here in this country, and a lot of those jobs were outsourced as a result of NAFTA. He was a big proponent of Wall Street deregulation. I think I was listening to Sam Cedar's show on YouTube, and he referred to Joe Biden as the senator from MBNA, the credit card company, basically because he was in the pocket of the financial industry, basically. I don't believe he is for Medicare for all or universal health care. I think the farthest he's went is supporting a public option, even though a majority of Americans do support Medicare for all, so that's another strike against him, in my opinion. He's also tweeted recently about Juan Guaido in Venezuela, and how Nicolas Maduro, is a dictator, and we need to support Guaido and fair elections, even though they just recently had elections, and Nicolas Maduro was overwhelmingly supported by the people of Venezuela, and all the international observers that were there would classify that as a fair election. So he's still, interested in these regime change tactics and messing with the, internal political system of these other countries, and we don't need more of that. He talked about freezing entitlement, so Social Security, Medicare, that type of stuff. So basically, he is just a another neoliberal center-right Democratic candidate, and that's not what the party or the country needs right now. We need somebody that's out there advocating, for these programs that are going to benefit the vast majority of the citizens of the United States. So, Medicare for all, free college, regulating Wall Street, ending the subsidies to the big oil and gas companies, reinstating higher income tax rates on the very wealthy, these type of things. And as far as I can tell, I haven't really been able to find his exact platform for this current election cycle. It just seems like he's just kind of talking about vague generalities, and that how he's just positioning himself as somebody that can beat Trump, but he's not really diving into what his actual policies will be, because I think because once he does that, then people will really see that he is just, like I said, another neoliberal center-right Democratic establishment candidate. So yeah, and then it seems like the corporate media is trying to do a good job of propping him up, because he is good for their bottom line, because he is part of the status quo, and he's not really looking to shake up things. So those are kind of my initial thoughts about Joe Biden's 2020 presidential campaign. I would love to hear what your thoughts are about his policy positions in the past and his previous voting record. There's just a lot of stuff to look at, because he has been in public office for so long, and a lot of the stuff that I've found from his voting record and policy positions are not good. So I hope that we're able to get a more progressive candidate the nomination, or like I said, I think we'll run into the same problem that we did last time when the Democratic establishment propped up Hillary Clinton. We ended up with Trump. Let's remember to be kind to each other, the animals, the planet, and ourselves. Peace.